Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I would be remiss if right off the bat I didn't recognize the fact that we changed the show from Morning Sam, Morning Ralph to Modern Solutions for Modern Restaurants, keeping the little MSMR intact. And this is kind of important, right? Because when we started Morning Sam, Morning Ralph about almost 6, 7 months ago, so many things have changed. So I think we've grown, our clients have grown. I think we're a lot more professional now. And the guests that we're bringing on, like the guests that we have today, just really smart people, awesome stuff. So with that in mind, we have an awesome show today. This is about e-commerce. It's about food service. It's about distributors. I've got Hans Schatz here. He's the EVP of Cut Dry. They are the number one e-commerce platform for food service distributors, bar none. So here's the thing. Did you know that there are approximately 17,000 food service distributions locations in the United States? 17,000 food service distribution centers. That's has a significant economic impact. That's about $482 billion in sales, supporting 487,000 jobs. Think about that. You can say that without these distributors, our beloved industry would probably collapse. So I've got a man today that's going to come on and tell us a lot more about how food distributors are kind of not only propelling our entire restaurant industry, but they're really foundational to that. And they have a solution that makes all of that work. His name is Hans Schatz, right? And Hans has spent his entire career in the food service industry, giving him incredibly deep knowledge of how the business really works. He's worked in restaurants and hotels, spent nearly 30 years in food service distribution. He's even taken the plunge as a tech founder. He's led a craft beverage manufacturer. And he's worked with the largest group purchasing organization network in the United States. And all of this experience means he really understands how the modern food service supply chain works inside and out. But even with all this, my buddy Hans still had questions about how to improve the food service supply chain. And he wanted to figure out how to make it better serve manufacturers, distributors, and the 1.4 million plus operators working hard to succeed. And that curiosity and desire really led him to join Cut Dry, the original innovator in food service with a common e-commerce platform for all trading partners to work together. Hans, welcome to the show, man.
Man, you're hired. But you hit some really, really important, crucial points, and you're right about that. And it's interesting how our life's journeys lead us to places that we never would have dreamed would be. But the modern food service industry is really remarkable. And they're loved, they're hated, depending on what day it is, and if you showed up with or without the tomatoes. But if you think about, we go out and buy all this stuff, we put it in these big buildings called warehouses. You order it today, we take your order, we send it back, they pick the order, they load a truck, the truck goes out, it makes a delivery. The delivery needs to be on time with the right products in good shape at the right price. All that done inside of 18, 20 hours. It's remarkable when you put it in that context.
Yes.
What the modern food service industry does, distribution, it's remarkable. And it's day after day after day, incredible repetitive motion. So you're right. It's and you think about that supply chain without the manufacturers making the stuff, the last mile distributors holding, delivering it, and then all those amazing operators preparing it to whoever their customer is, right? Lots of different types of customers, prisoners, students, diners like you and me, cruise ships, all that other stuff. They all consume that supply chain, the end of that supply chain.
It's remarkable. And it's almost, I want to say it's hilarious, but it's not. But it is. That we don't talk about, you don't hear about supply chain as much, at least on the restaurant technology side, as much as you should. And so one of the reasons why I called you the other day, listen, in full disclosure, everybody, Cut Dry is a popcorn client. We've been a client now since mid 2024.
Good
Love
one.
working with these guys.
Yep.
Yeah, just fantastic relationship. And one of the things that I've learned in working with you is this concept, this idea of rich catalogs. You're helping so many distributors create just an easier way for which their restaurant customers, their hotel, resort, whatever food service uh, outlets they're
Right.
supplying, make it so easy for them to find the products they need, order, and get it out there. Tell me more about these rich catalogs. What does that mean? Or what is a rich
Well,
catalog?
let's take a step back. Let's take a step back to take a step forward.
Okay.
The way it's done today is an operator, and they lots of sectors and segments. You just went through quite a few of them. There's just many more.
Yeah.
They rely on their distributor partners. And let's just really focus on these amazing independent distributors. There's a lot, like you said, there's a long tail, several thousand. There's the really big ones. Then there's the good sized ones in the middle. Then there's that long tail, and they're scrappy, family owned, second, third, fourth generation, providing a really important service in that market, in that niche that they're in. And forever, food, let's just be honest, food service, we're not the tip of the spear for technology and innovation, right? We're the tip of the spear for working hard and doing a really great job inside that flywheel that we discussed earlier. But technology is such a great equalizer. It reduces some of the heavy lifts so that the core essence of what should be transpiring can happen in a better way. So the way things are done today, an operator places an order, they can call it in, they can text it, they can they can go online. Their sales associate comes by, and we call it ripping and running. They come in and, hey, I'm here to get your order, Paul. They patch the thing. Hey, good to see you. Anything else? Okay. Hey, I'll see you next time. And boom, they're out the door because they got to get all these orders done by a certain time every day. Again, repetitive motion.
That's right.
Now, imagine a world and let me add one more thing. When they order, no matter what that process is, they order, we call it food service hieroglyphics, right? So you got this thing called an order guide. It lists all the things you buy. And it'll say 6 #10 TOM SAU DCE 6 number 10 pound tomatoes diced and it's we call it food service hieroglyphics. You don't know what it means. And if an average person picked it up, they're like, well, what's that? They wouldn't be able to say what it is. So technology has come along, Cut and Dry has come along, and this core group built this platform for the biggest distributor in the world years ago, and they figured out how to do it. Says, we're going to go do this for the independents, is that it gives us, I call it a playground. It gives this rich shopping experience. When you go want to buy a pair of shoes online, or you want to look at a car online, or you're looking at Bose headphones or whatever it is, you're not looking at a BOS, you're not looking at how you're looking at this rich environment.
That's
and
right.
How much do people do with these things? Right?
Everything.
Everything. I want to order a meal. I'm going to book my flight. I'm going to rent a car, whatever it is. So, but food service hasn't had that option because the e-commerce platform didn't really exist. Now, yes, there's some Cisco and US Foods, some big companies did some of their own thing.
Of course.
And got to a certain point. But what Cut and Dry has built is, to your point, that rich catalog. I call it a fully enhanced, multi-picture, deep product taxonomy. Everything that you need to know, you're going to be able to do it while you're placing your order. In today's world, if you don't have that, you call your sales rep, you call a broker, you go online, you get a magazine, you got all these different sources, and none of them have everything you really need. So you don't really ever accomplish your goal. And if you're an independent operator, your dishwasher may not have shown up that day. You don't have a supply chain group and a marketing group and a culinary group that can go do that heavy lifting. It's all you as the owner operator or your team. And you're just trying to get food in and get food out and have people leave with smiles on their faces. So this service is totally transforming how business is done in food service distribution.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I love about what Cut and Dry does as a service is for all of these, tens of thousands and thousands and thousands of independent food service distributors that may have been family-owned operations for decades, right? And I just, for example, we're working with several of your clients that are food service companies, that are generationally owned. And let's face it, generationally owned companies may or may not have family members that are all that technologically savvy. And so what happens is that their business, while it's just an amazing business with an incredible reputation and long-term clients, but they've been struggling to really get that digital presence locked down and make it easy to, to modernize their ordering and their ordering methodology. So what you guys have been able to do is work with these independent distributors and figure out a really simple way to plug and play this e-commerce catalog inside of their website or inside of their digital presence. Right?
Well, we create their digital presence. They don't have that.
Yeah.
And you help give them a robust website, but some of them don't have, some have different variations, right? And so a couple of things. Moving the industry from analog to digital is a big undertaking. And most other industries in the world have did that a decade-ish or so ago, right? So we're behind the ball. So it's not that it's not understood. The challenge that you just said was exactly right. You got these generational companies. They don't have, they're scrappy. They're really good at what they do. They serve a very important purpose. Their product line, whether they're a broad line or a certain segment or a niche or specialty, what they do is critical because they're supporting that industry and their marketplaces that they serve. And those operators rely on them, trust them, count on them, and they almost become like business partners, right? The problem is that you never get more time in a day. There's never more than 24 hours in a day. It doesn't ever get, lots of things get extended. Time never gets extended. Once you spend a minute, it's gone. So distributors say to me, and I was in distribution forever and ever. And I've lived all the highs and lows and the dreams and nightmares and all that other stuff. Hans, serious conversation. You got it. How do we beat Cisco? I'm not picking on Cisco. They're an amazing big company. Well, let's change one word. How do you compete with them? Okay. Because they're an 80-something billion dollar behemoth. You're probably not going to beat them in a holistic way. However, you can compete with them, but you got to do some of the stuff they're doing. And you're going to think, well, we can't do that. You can. And one of the things they do is they make it easy for their customers to order. They don't rely on the rip and run of the sales associate. They don't have to rely on an inside salesperson, not missing a phone call and catching them where they're not busy or whatever. They do it all through a e-commerce platform.
That's right. You're leveling the playing field is basically what you're trying to do.
Yes. And you too can be like them. So now that's the great thing about digital is that it's an equalizer.
It really is.
Right? They don't look bigger or better or whatever. You can look just as amazing. And we'll do that work for you. You just have to engage and bring your customers onto the platform. And guess what? They may be like, well, we like it when Paul takes our order. Paul can still come visit you. But what he's going to do now is do stuff to help you grow your business, not just take an order and run to the next place, take an order and run to the next place. And so it's a complete mind shift that has to take place, not just for the operator, but for the sales associates inside those distributors.
That's right. I feel like, the catalog that you're putting together, going back to the idea of a rich catalog. Well, what does rich mean? Rich means high resolution pictures. It means SKU numbers. It means descriptions. It means being able to filter by category, being able to search by brand, being able to, get to what you're looking for easily, add things into a cart, and make the order. It could mean everything from paying an invoice. It can be, looking at frozen goods versus dry goods versus meats versus vegetable. This is truly a catalog that has come to life. And now you're making it available for basically all the indies.
Great way to put it.
It's commendable. Let's talk a little bit about how
you're hired, by the way.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I'm glad. Good. I'll start last May.
That's right.
I want to talk about your approach. How do you help them? a distributor is interested, you've got a good sale, really good sales team. You're out there, you're out on the circuit, you're meeting and greeting, you're getting people interested. What is it? How do you integrate with these folks in order to get them started? What is it? Is it a simple process?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, and let me give you a couple different answers. Number one, the point of this tip of the spear, the initial conversation is an important one, and it's really more storytelling than it is technology, right?
Hmm.
It's like, hey, we want to help you be more efficient, free up time for your sales reps, give your customers, and I call it a playground. Give them a playground to go in and shop in. Our case studies show that it's a 14, 15, up to 30% lift in sales because people see stuff. There's promoted products, there's specials, there's financial incentives. They don't get any of that any other way. And they see it at point of purchase with their own eyes. So we tell a story, we story tell.
Yeah,
And then that leads to that operator going, wow, this is really amazing. But we're fearful because we don't understand technology and we're working off an old ERP system. And, sometimes we have these issues and these challenges and credits and collections and different things. And we tell them, we get it. We understand. We come out of this business. We're not new
mhm,
to this business. We're actually the OG, like you said in the introduction. This crew, this nucleus of this company, been together over 20 years.
yeah,
They were doing some work before they went to Cisco. They did all this work at Cisco, which good name, bad name. It's just I use it in an agnostic way. But they learn. You want to go learn how the industry works? You go to the biggest, baddest player, right? And then they
absolutely.
said, "Hey, we did that for them. We can do this for the independents." And then so we tell them, we understand your fears, but we're gonna walk with you. We're gonna integrate. We integrate with over 60 different ERP systems. And again, most of our investment in human equity in our company is in development engineering on the dev side, all of that heavy, heavy, heavy backside work. And we tell them, listen, you're going to go through boot camp for a minute. We're going to come in, we're going to integrate with your ERP. It's not going to be sexy or fun. It's not
Hmm.
really going to be easy. And it's going to take a few months to do it. But we're gonna enhance your products and we're gonna push you on some things. Then when we get through the process, it's like when you go through that mine and you walk out and there's this gorgeous valley with trees and flowers and plants and birds and
Right.
animals and springs running and the bluebirds are singing and you're like, man, I must be in heaven. It's that big of a transformation.
That's what we've seen. All right. Let's talk a little bit about that because I know firsthand and working with a bunch of your clients, like this has been revolutionary in terms of what it's been able to do for their sales, their status, their capability to, to walk into a new client of theirs and say, this is what we can bring for your food service establishment. This is how easy we can make your life now. Cut and Dry
It's
is a tool that does that. I want to hear more about the success, uh, in terms of what about, what kind of revenue growth are your customers seeing on average? What kind of lift are they
well,
seeing?
we've done a handful of case studies. We're starting to release them. We'll start seeing them hit the airwaves.
Okay.
But we've done case studies with Southwest Traders, which is a really cool distributor in Temecula, California. We've done studies with Buy Right, which is a really cool distributor in San Francisco. We've done case studies with West Chefs Want. They have multiple locations around the country, and others. And what we see consistently, and what we do, Paul, this is interesting because it's scientific. We take a cohort of operators that are independents that are not
Hmm.
on our platform inside of that distributor, and we take a cohort of operators that are using our system inside. And then we're on a parallel time frame of multiple weeks, so it's not like a 3-week snapshot, which data is not really fully. We take multi-week snapshots and we compare them. And what we found consistently is that the least lift we've seen is 14%. I'm gonna come back to that. But we've seen in the upper 20s and low 30s. Because guess what? Just like when my wife sends me to the grocery store and I got a list of 12 things, I come home and there's 18 things.
That's
And
right.
she says, Hans, why are there 18 things when I sent you get 12 things? Well, I saw this and it looked good, and I saw that and I wanted it
That's
because
right.
I shop with my eyes, because I
That's
also
right.
eat with my. It's the same human
It's the,
nature
in restaurants,
phenomenon.
it's the kiosk effect, right? I mean, it's kind of like the automatic upsell. So thinking about that is that something that Cut and Dry is doing where it is using perhaps AI to recommend to the buyer certain products that might pair well?
We do have a really robust AI component, but I want to answer the question in a different way. Let's put because we can come back to AI, and I'd like to talk about that. We work with manufacturers and we work with those distributors, so they can run sponsored ads. They can run, post up sponsored products. They can run campaigns. So, and then when one of our distributors, when one of their customers goes in to place an order, they said, again, rich pictures, rich taxonomy, all the information they could ever want to hope to have, all in one easy place, makes it easy to place orders. Then there's hey, don't forget, you normally order this, you didn't order it this time, so we do a reminder. Then we say, oh, by the way, we think you might like these products. And that's where the AI agent comes in and says, you're buying peanut butter, but you didn't buy jelly. You're buying a hot dog, but you didn't buy a bun. You bought ketchup, but you didn't buy mustard. So it makes recommendations, and then all you do is click the little heart, and it adds it to your order guide, or you can order right there. It makes it it's one click, and then we prop up promotions. So let's say that Hans Manufacturing's got a deal I want to offer on all my this one product. Say, hey, you buy this, you're going to get $3, and then that operator's got a digital wallet. They make the buy. They get a little thing, a little piggy bank pops up, says, click here to put in your digital wallet. And they have access to those funds the next day. I mean, it's just remarkable. And think about now, human nature again. Dopamine hits. I click, I got it, I can use it. It's not a 20, it's not a 30, 60, 90 day, well, we'll get you funded. It's right now, real time. We're rewarding you for making purchasing decisions at the point of purchase. So guess what? Those orders get bigger, more is added to the cart. The operator, the user is like, this is fantastic. I want to order more. I want to use this environment because the food service hieroglyphics, I hate that. And think about this too, as a distributor, you're using food service, the operator may go, I'm not sure this is the right product, but I'm going to order it. Comes in, it's like, it's not the right thing. Because they couldn't really tell. They send it back. Every time a case is touched, it costs money. Every time a case goes a mile, it costs money. So if you're in the distribution business and you can reduce those errant orders, pick any percent you want. It's real dollars.
Yeah, that reconciliation becomes that's a major,
As an operator, I really don't want to play hopscotch with ordering. I don't want to see what's behind door number 3. I want to order what I want and get it when I want it. And now this e-commerce platform with this rich digital presence, you may order something accidentally, but you know what you're getting because you get multiple pictures, all this information, uses recipes, even some of them you can click a button and get a sample.
Right. So there's a tremendous amount of clarity that the buyer is getting. So yeah, I mentioned this, and it's the idea of the kiosk effect, which is this upsell effect, which everybody is very excited about in restaurant land, because you no longer need the person behind the counter saying, do you want fries with that? The fries are simply presented. Well, taking that concept and that idea to the e-commerce, to the food service e-commerce world, I'm wondering how this is kind of esoteric a little bit, but I know that there are relationships with food service distributors and manufacturers where there's cooperative advertising and cooperative promotional. How does that work into the cut and dry experience? Like where you can highlight certain brands and explain to me how that works. Because that's a big part of the really weird and big part of the world that you're in.
And thanks for the softball question, by the way. Yes. And let's take a step back. What are we trying to accomplish? We're not a dimensional company. We're a multi-dimensional company. We're looking at the entire supply chain. We want the 3 main nodes, manufacturers, distributors, operators, to trade openly, freely, quickly, with clarity. And so how does that happen? Well, there's a handful of things that doesn't happen that well today. And it's not just running ads. There's other things you can do. It's incenting making that incentive at point of purchase. But it is creating in the food service world, everybody works together, but it's not. Collaboration usually means I got what I want, and I'm sorry you're bleeding in the parking lot. But I think that this digital technology movement, going from analog to digital and taking some of those fears out,
Yep.
that we're going to go from maybe handing something from one person to another to actually building this very conjoined way to communicate, share in a fast and accurate way, ultimately, so that operator gets the greatest benefit possible. Because guess what? The better they do, that the better the entire supply chain going back through does, right? So it's not just a money grab. It's not just, hey, we're going to do some silly stuff and, it's good for us, but it's not really good for you. We're going to make it look like we're going to make it feel important because we're putting all this stuff up. No, it literally has to move cases. And the ultimate report card is if cases aren't moving because of activities taking place, the activities are not working, right? So everything we do, we focus on how do we move cases from that manufacturer through that distributor into that operator, then they turn around and prepare it and present it in a way to whoever they're serving, so that flywheel speeds up faster, gets faster and faster and bigger and faster and bigger and faster. So that's really the ethos behind the movement that we're doing. Our moves look like it's this or that. It's a bunch of things. They're all happening in synchronicity, but they're not all obvious.
Right. Well, they aren't. I think they aren't all obvious, and that's by design. In a lot of ways, right? You're trying to do things in a way that feels seamless.
Right.
People often think that the best technology out there is all the stuff that you can't see. If I don't see it or feel it, and it's just working,
and my life is good,
and my life is good,
your life has to be good, right?
Then that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
So we talk a lot about the distributor side of things, but what's interesting, and that maybe not everybody's caught on to yet, is that Cut and Dry is also serving restaurants too. So you're making it easier for restaurants to plug into your ecosystem to make purchases, right?
100%. And the cool thing about it is they can settle their invoices through our system. They can request samples through our system. Again, they get a rich, if they're searching for a new appetizer, they don't have to go to 5 different websites for 5 different manufacturers or ask their sales rep, which may or may not come back with information, or hope they see a broker who only represents one company, not all the other companies.
Right.
So we again, one to many. We give one place to go to many places, right? So we give that power in their hands. And then we also, so if let's just use Buy Right San Francisco, we could use Driscoll, DeCarlo, we can use a bunch of different companies and say, I'm Hans's Bistro. I'm going to place my order with Buy Right in this beautiful enhanced environment. I can also go place my Cisco order through the Cut and Dry form. I can also place my produce order, and that produce company is not a partner with Cut and Dry, not yet anyway, but I can do it all in one place. So
you're literally, you are an agnostic platform for,
in a sense.
Yes.
In a sense. And so now, if you're an operator and you put your operator hat on for a minute, the typical independent operator buys from 4 to 7 suppliers. Think about that, right? So every one of them have a different way they place orders, most likely phone, telephonic, text. They may have an electric order.
The wonderful world of omni-channel. Love it.
And you're probably placing at least 2 orders a week from each one of those. Think about how many times you have to do this in a different format, different way, at a different time. One of the interesting things is we see when all the orders are placed, there's a big majority of orders placed on our platform between midnight and 1 in the morning. Why is that?
Between midnight and 1 in the morning.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Because that's the only time I have time.
Oh my God. That's
right.
Well, that's a commentary on the insanity of the industry.
Right.
Anyway.
But we're meeting that operator where they are. We're giving them that ability to have that flexibility. Then their sales rep doesn't have to go do the rip and run. And we want salespeople to love what they do, because they're, again, critical part of our industry, important part of the fabric of these operators. They go to their weddings, funerals, soccer game, all this stuff.
Yes.
But they can evolve what they're doing so they can really love their job and go on and bring ideas and new products and concepts and sit down and brainstorm and whatever with that operator and help them on those little bitty things, because it's all the little things that make you great, not the couple of big things, right? We all know that. So I'll be massively obvious. So if you can help with a couple of those little things, you have elevated the essence of who that operator is. Nobody wants to play like that, but a lot of them do. So it's a mind shift. I said that earlier. And we hold on to what we know. I don't want to let go of this. I've been a sales rep for 35 years. You're not going to tell me about, and it's like, no, dude, you can do this. And I'll give you an anecdotal story. One of our distributors, I was invited to their like annual awards thing, and not a young guy, probably in his mid late 30s, comes up to me. He's got a man bun. He's kind of cool and hip. I'm like this old guy, right? He's like, "Are you Hans?" I'm like, "I am. Can I talk to you?" "You already are." And he's like, "I just want to tell you, I'm out in the boonies. I got a bunch of little towns they go to, and I thought in a million years they'll never want to place an order on. They want me." And he goes, "But I challenged myself. I got 95% of my 37 customers using Cut and Dry. They love it. And when I go see them, we have real conversations. Sometimes we talk about their kids, but we have a real conversation. My relationship has escalated, and I'm at this awards banquet because my sales grew. It was 20 something percent. And I earned this trip and all that goes with it because of your platform." I said, no, no, no. Our platform was a catalyst. You did the work. But that's an anecdotal story that I'll tell anybody in sales that wants to talk about it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because you just gave that that salesperson a tool, to do their job even better, or even to be recognized for the work that they're doing.
Yeah, it was
in a whole new way.
It was an awesome moment, and I was a proud papa, even though I just met him for the first time.
Yeah. But I love this idea of like a restaurant group or even an independent restaurant having all of their vendors in one place, right? Being able to do so. So let's talk about that for a second, because I would imagine that if you have a restaurant that, loves ordering from Cut and Dry catalogs, they're probably talking to their other suppliers saying, "Hey, all right, do you have any sort of affiliate program or anything like that, Hans, that maybe you guys need to work on to, but that's part of the sales process, right?
It is.
You're making, yeah.
No, and again, it's an interconnected process. You can't focus on just one hub or the other, or one node or the other, because if you're going to make a holistic change in the industry, you have to holistically look at it, and then everybody has to have a seat at the table, and they all have to win. It can't be one win or two win and one lose or two lose. They all have to win. And if your system and if your ethos of your company and your system doesn't support or promote that, then you're not going to have a sustainable platform, most likely.
Okay, now let's put the third leg of the stool on this thing with the manufacturers themselves.
Right.
Okay, so you guys are also now offering a way to standardize data so that everything is the same. In a way, there's it's a one. All the specs, everything is there. Everything is standardized. Everybody's ordering the set. Case is a case, or a quart is a quart, et cetera. Tell me a little bit about that standardization and why that's kind of long overdue.
So it's a great question, and it's got some depth in the answer. If you took 20 distributors, took one Tyson item, 2 ounce chicken strip, whatever else you want to put on it, Tyson 2 ounce breaded chicken strip, 10-pound case. You took 20 distributors, 20.
Yep.
Not one of them would name that the same in their order guide.
That's right.
Now, if I'm John Q operator, and maybe I buy from, this distributor this week and that, whatever. And I'm like, I wonder if that's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so the product, the taxonomy in the industry is horrible. So horrible.
That's one of
doesn't really exist. So there's some big companies, GS1, which was GDSN, and Syndigo, and after some other companies, and they're trying to clean this up and get it organized in a way. When a distributor comes on the Cut and Dry platform, we take all their products and we enhance them and we clean them. We do the work. Okay. And they now get that rich picture, a full description, no hieroglyphics. And so when Tyson comes and publishes with Cut and Dry, they publish once, it goes everywhere. So every single distributor that works with Cut and Dry that buys that Tyson item, every single time is called the same thing. It's got the GDSN number that's right. Now, the distributors will have their own item number, but Tyson has their manufacturer code in it. So we tie all that together and we take it down. You mentioned earlier, "Hey, I want to look at this in a frozen way." We have 5 levels. We call it taxonomy, which is
Mhm, mhm.
detailed information. We have 5 levels of information on most of our products. GS1, which is a great company, and it's kind of like the foremost leader in this. They go 3 levels, 4 on some. We can't just rely on GS1 for data. We can't just rely on Syndigo or X or even the manufacturer. We work with multiple places. We build this in our enterprise. And so when you work with Cut and Dry, you get that. Why is that important? Well, now the manufacturer can say, hey, this is who we are and this is what it is. It's
Yeah,
not something else. And they get credit for it, and they can see it throughout the supply chain. The operator knows what it is. There's so much more to that conversation. I don't think we have time to get
yeah.
down for me to
This
dig
but
that
this
rabbit
is
hole.
one of those this is one of those fights, that is so worth, spilling blood on the battlefield over, because I think that just from a data perspective alone, being truly, ultimately understanding what the price of a chicken breast is in the Southeast versus the Northeast,
Right.
all of these different things that you can glean insights from that could make smarter purchasing decisions, uh, and frankly, just create a level of transparency that I think everybody wants. I mean, it's powerful stuff, but it's
Go back to
also,
that third leg. That third leg, think of now
yeah,
you're the manufacturer, and now you
yeah,
get to see clarity.
right,
You know, it's this item, and you don't have to do put on your Sherlock Holmes outfit and go try to figure out is it what item was this really that this
yeah,
distributor sold? They get what that means to them is so important. The clarity they
right.
get, the decisions they can now make.
That's right. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I love it. I love it. So we've got distributors, we've got restaurants and food service uh, outlets, if you will, and we have manufacturers. That's there it is, man. That's the whole that's the whole ecosystem.
It
And we
is,
got
and
the
you got
and we have the and we
participants.
yeah,
Yep.
we have the participants that like to eat too, so that's important.
Right.
Hans, so some of the key takeaways for distributors that are out there considering adopting sort of rich e-commerce strategies. I think it's at this point, it's like I would imagine it's to the point where we're talking table stakes here. If you're a distributor and you're not offering an easy, fluid way for your customer, your clientele to order product from you, oh man, you're in for a rough ride. So, Hans, how can people find you? How do they get started? What's the best way to reach out? Um, where are you going to
Well, we're
be?
easy to find. It's www.cutanddry.com. I'm Hans at cutandDry.com. But here's what I want to say, because you brought up a really important point. We have early adopters. There's distributors that have gotten out there, they're doing this. Then there's laggards. And laggards doesn't mean that's not an intelligence thing or whatever. It just means
No,
you're waiting because you're not sure. You have some
right.
concerns, maybe have some fears. Here's the challenge. I said earlier, how do we compete with Cisco? How do we beat them? You don't beat them, but you can compete with them. It's the same thing for all your peers all around you. When they give their customers that rich opportunity to shop and that wonderful playground, as I call it, and you're ripping and running with hieroglyphics. What you're making is the gap between you and them is getting broader. When you finally make that adoption, you got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah,
I wouldn't wait. The cost is ridiculous. It's a rounding error. The benefit is huge. It's
yeah,
multi-X fold. And it brings you into this digital world that, again, everybody lives in, right? We all live in a digital world that you'll find it as there's the Boo Bears aren't there that you think they are. Yes, you got to go through some integration and it's not easy. And we know that. Let's acknowledge it. But once you get through, you're going to be able to move faster with more clarity, with less errors. Your customers are going to have a better experience. You're going to sell more cases. And ultimately, that's what it's all about.
Hans Schatz, Cut and Dry, EVP, the man, the myth, the legend, the
Yeah.
such a terrific guest. I thank you, man. I really
It's a
appreciate you
pleasure.
coming on and doing this. And just one last thought: where are you guys going to be next? Any shows coming up?
We've got, I'll be at a Culinary Institute of America event in a couple weeks in Napa. We got the the Produce Association event in July in Monterey. We've got the IFDA Smart Sales and Marketing Conference in
Mm.
July in Miami. We've got the IFMA. They have a brand new thing. They haven't announced it yet. So you're hearing it here first. So if I'm in trouble with Phil, I'm sorry. But they're doing a tech summit in San Francisco. It's going to be really cool. And we're one of the founding sponsors and one of the guest speakers. And so I'm probably missing a few things this summer, but we got a busy summer in front of us. We do a lot of events, and then of course we get into the fall, and then you've got Unipro and other IFTA stuff, IFMA President's Conference, and on and on. So
Good stuff, man.
it is.
All right, Hans Schatz, Cut and Dry. We'll put all the links in the pod. Look for this on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartMedia. It's always a pleasure. Say hello to
You're
the
a great
guys for me.
host.
Oh,
You're
thanks,
a great
buddy.
host.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Ciao.
Ciao.